Okay, this book has always been one of my favorite, even when I was a little girl too. It's called The Tortoise and the Hare. And so you'll see a couple of rabbits there and the word finish. So can you find this book? Because that's the one that we're going to read next. And remember, you're right, you can hit pause until you can find the book. Okay, are you ready to read? I'm ready to read. Let's read. Okay, open the book. And the first page is the title page, isn't it? The Tortoise and the Hare. And oh my goodness, once there was a hare who lived in a wood. The hare thought of himself as a very clever fellow. Often the hare visited his friend the tortoise. He liked to tell his friend how clever he was. Turn the page. One day the hare came to the tortoise's house to show off 5 plump turnips he had taken from the farmer's garden. Oh, that's not very good either. How smart of me, said the hare, to find such turnips. Okay, turn the page. The next day the hare spent half the afternoon looking at himself in the stream. What fine ears I have, said the hare. How handsome I am. Turn the page. Oops, let's see here. I'm having a hard time turning that page. On the following day, the hare told the tortoise that he had run away from the farmer that very morning. I'm surely the fastest runner there is, he bragged. Boy, this hare, he's something else, isn't he? He's not a very nice hare, is he? At last the tortoise had heard enough boasting. I know you can run very fast, she said, but I could beat you in a race. Turn the page. The hare laughed and danced about on his fine, strong legs. You, the slowpoke, he said, you think you can beat me? Nonsense. Believe what you will, said the tortoise, but tomorrow we shall race each other all the way to the top of the far hill. Turn the page. The next day, everyone gathered to watch the race. No one thought the tortoise could win because the turtles are pretty slow, aren't they? But the owl, who was the judge, simply said, we shall see. That's the wise old owl for you, isn't it? And there's the start sign. Do you see the start? At the start of the race? Yeah, there's the start. Turn the page. Go, said the owl, and the race was on. The tortoise plodded forward on her short, stubby legs. The hare leaped out in front. Before anyone could say Jack Rabbit, he was out of sight. Okay, turn the page. The hare ran past flowering meadows and grassy fields. He sped by the apple orchard and on down the road. Just before he reached the finish line, the hare stopped. Oh my goodness, why would he stop? He stretched out in the warm sun behind a tall hedge to wait for the tortoise. And there's where it says the finish line. And here's the hare down here, and he's sleeping. Turn the page. The tortoise kept up her slow, steady pace. She passed the flowering meadows and grassy fields. She reached the apple orchard and kept going. At last the tortoise neared the finish line. But she wondered, where is the hare? He was fast asleep behind the hedge. Turn the page. Hooray! Shouted the animals as the tortoise finished the race. The hare awoke with a start. He couldn't believe his eyes. The tortoise was taking a bow. Oh my goodness. Turn the page. I was here hours ago, said the hare. I fell asleep behind the hedge. But I crossed the finish line ahead of you, said the tortoise. True, true, said the judge. The tortoise is the winner. Turn the page. The owl had something else to add. So the owl said, slow and steady often wins the race, he said. And the tortoise and the hare agreed. So sometimes it's not always necessary to be the first one done. It's not always necessary to be the first one done. It's not always necessary to always be the best, is it? Sometimes when you take your time and do things well, you come out way ahead, don't you? And I think that's a pretty neat lesson. So I love you kids very, very much. Big hugs. Love you, love you, love you.